Good. Now by show of hands, we are going to decide which statement we feel is most convincing. For those students that feel statement 1 is most convincing, you can raise your hand. Okay, there's one person that thinks the first one is most convincing. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and the rest of us think that statement 2 is most convincing. Who thinks statement 2 is most convincing? No one? So everyone thinks that statement 1 is most convincing. Based on if you were to hear whichever statement. We're going by which one is most convincing. So not kind of, most convincing. Okay, let's try again. So who thinks that statement 1 is most convincing? Me. 5. Okay, so who thinks that statement 2 is most convincing? So those of us whose hands have not gone up for either. Why do we not think neither is convincing? That's what we make for the back here. Okay. Oh, so you want me to do that? Okay, so which one do you think is most convincing? Statement 1 or 2? The first one? Okay. Which one do you think is more convincing? The first one? Okay. Alrighty, so today our topic is bias. However, we are mostly going to learn about persuasion. That is why Ms. Smith was asking you which statement you thought was most convincing. We should be able to head up our books. Right now, on the board is our date, our subject, and our topic, as well as our objectives. We do not have to write our objectives since they will remain on the board for us to know exactly what is expected of us by the end of our period today. So by the end of the lesson, students should be able to define bias in their own words. You should be able to identify bias in the group activity statements that Ms. Smith presented you with. And you should be able to evaluate your worksheet statements to figure out whether they are biased or not biased. At this time, outside conversation should be limited since classes do not become less time than usual to complete all 3 of our objectives. Alright, on the board, Ms. Smith is going to play a video. We are paying attention to the video.
What's wrong with water from the tap? We didn't have bottled water before huge companies began to clog it. The joke's on us and the environment. The bottle costs maybe 1,000 times more than the contents. The bottle always heads for the landfill, just where it shouldn't go. All informed people agree that it's time to ban the bottle. Though you may agree with the argument presented, you may also have recognized bias. Bias is prejudice for or against a person, a group of people, or their ideas. Bias is an angle of view that unfairly misrepresents individuals or their ideas because the focus is on only one side of the topic or aspect of the person, rather than presenting a balanced view. Some texts, such as advertisements and political speeches, are intentionally biased. In those contexts, because the purpose of selling us a product, service, or idea is usually obvious, bias can be more easily identified. In newscasts, journal articles, and website information, we expect ideas to be neutral. However, bias is often still present. Pay attention to these markers when examining texts for bias. Is the language in a text meant to appeal to your emotions? We didn't have bottled water before huge companies began to flog it. The verb flog means to sell aggressively. The adjective huge emphasizes the power of corporations as opposed to the individual. Both conjure negative connotations, which elicit negative emotional responses. When examining bias, notice not only what has been included, but more importantly, what is missing. This perspective is from someone whose community has access to clean water. But what about the millions of people around the world, and even in our own country, who must drink bottled water? Asking the question, what's wrong with the water from the tap, generalizes that all tap water is safe for drinking. Stating that all informed people agree, stereotypes and divides the listeners or readers into two groups: those who agree with the speaker and those who disagree, leaving no middle ground in the debate. With our varied preferences and experiences, we all bring our own biases to situations. By realizing this and thinking critically about what is presented and the biases within texts, you will obtain an accurate, more balanced understanding of important issues.
Good. So based on the video that we just watched, who can tell me what they got from the video in regards to what it means for something to be biased?
Something you prepare.
Something
You
you
like you prepare something you prepare.
you prepare,
Prepare.
prefer, okay, something that you prefer, good. Anyone else have any,
Something you like better.
something you like better, okay. Anyone else have any takes on the word bias, and what they understand it to be? One more person to tell me what they understand it to be before we can move on. The longer we take to do that, the longer we take to complete the rest of our assignment. Go ahead, Davidson.
The difference between clean water and dirty water.
Okay, that's what the video was talking about, the difference between clean water and good water. But I want you to tell me what you think the word bias means. And what you understood that the word means.
When good water
What is bias?
Something you like better.
Not innocent. Anyone else beside innocent?
It's like your opinion, like your preferences.
Anyone else beside innocent? Whenever you're ready.
Good questions.
What is bias? What do you think bias is? Rachel, what is bias?
I don't know.
What do you think it is? You're going to try.
You want me to look it up for you?
No, I want you to tell me what you think it is.
No, when you prefer something,
Hmm?
something you prefer you like.
Something that's your favorite? Okay, good. So, what is on the board? Please keep in mind that if you work with me,